What's up, you guys? Hope you are chillaxing. Today, I just want to quickly talk about streaming or content creation in general, starting a YouTube. I think a lot of people nowadays have pretty interesting things to say, and their voices aren't being heard. But we happen to live in a time period where your voice should be heard. Let me explain. I think a lot of people have this weird notion that people won't listen to them. But that's not exactly true. So, for years, I've been watching content creators. And a lot of these creators have a lot of things to say. For example, Asmongold is a perfect person to talk about. So Asmongold, he started out becoming a gamer. It was his idea to play video games. And as time went on, he started to focus just on reaction videos, mostly. But he decided one day, I don't want to be a part of the 9 to 5 grind. I want to sit home and I want to play my favorite MMORPGs. And I admire that. So, a lot of people nowadays are stuck in the grind of doing the same thing over and over and over and over again, right? So, example of that would be going to a job that you hate, but you're still collecting a paycheck, which is great and all, but you'll never be truly content with life if you are just collecting a paycheck and not doing what you love. So to me, life isn't about success in a sense of monetary value. It's about finding purpose. So usually what I consider to be a purposeful life is if you find something enjoyable in life or something you're skilled at and you can share that with others in a selfless manner, that's far more valuable than going to a 9 to 5 and just doing what your boss wants. You're being a productive member of society and you are adding to society when you are creating. So I've been told over and over again, I can't start a YouTube channel because I would say something that would get canceled or is way too controversial, right? So that's where you're actually wrong. And that's where we go back to Asmongold, for example. So Asmongold, he went from just being an everyday normal gamer. And when I say normal, you know what I'm saying. Right. But he decided, I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this grind. It's not going to work out for me. I don't care. I have no, inner peace with just going to work. And that's what he chose. I consume Asmongold content pretty much daily. And sure, it's not like it's easy to just find content all the time. But somehow he does it anyway. And I'm willing to bet that you do too. You're on YouTube now. You probably watch some sort of short form content or, check timelines, social media events, maybe read a newspaper. All that is content. And I'm willing to bet that if you are able to make decisions on your own and come to conclusions, even if you think you're controversial or what you say is going to get you canceled, your input is valuable. You might think that there's nobody else who thinks like you, but that's not the case. Humans are very similar, right? We all have our pitfalls. We have the things we're good at. But a lot of us tend to think pretty similarly about a lot of topics. And sometimes the only voice that's needed to basically confirm that you're onto something is one other voice. We're in probably the best time in history for sharing opinions and our personal beliefs and values. It doesn't really get any better than this. With Elon Musk purchasing Twitter, creating X, yes, there's a ton of controversy, but what he did when he did that purchase was he gave a voice to people who were being silenced, right? So, for example, if you posted anything controversial on Facebook about COVID, for example, one of our favorite topics, you were shadow banned. And even Zuckerberg admits to that. You weren't allowed to share opinions about anything that could be viewed as a compromise in their goal against the pandemic mainstream narrative. So, what I learned during that time period was that I thought I was mostly alone in a lot of my perspectives and viewpoints. But that's where I was wrong. What the algorithm and the internet fed me were a lot of opinions that were contrary to my own. So I couldn't really align with a lot of the mainstream talking points. What I'm trying to say is sometimes all it takes is one other person to agree with you to be a valuable contributing member to society. Even if you think like nobody's going to agree with you and you think that you're really weird, honestly, that's a strong point. The weirder you are and the more different you are, the more valuable you are to society. So nobody ever became famous saying anything not controversial. Fame comes with those who have both haters and supporters. And I'm not saying you should go out of your way to seek fame, right? What I'm saying instead is you should go out of your way to share your insight or your knowledge. Because there's others out there that want to hear your voice. I'm one of them. I spend a lot of time consuming content that other people have made. And to me, it's valuable to learn about different perspectives. There's nothing more valuable to me than understanding what somebody else thinks. You know, I've changed my views on so many subjects over time. And I'm happy to say that I listened to people who I disagree with. And the people that I've disagreed with, I've learned that sometimes by disagreeing, it makes you look inside and say, am I sure that I disagree? And a lot of people, they don't have that mental maturity at an early age in life, but they gain it over time. Some people don't gain that at all. I want you to think about that. What does that mean? What does it mean to have the mental maturity to think about somebody else's viewpoint? Well, that means that you're not just stuck in a bubble, right? So the great part about life in this world and being connected to the entire world over the internet is that you're able to hear all sorts of perspectives from every side that you never would have imagined. And there's no way that you could just go to the store locally and hear voices from a foreign country as easily as you would if you hopped onto Reddit, for example, or watched a YouTube short. And I think that's fascinating. There's so many people that I want to learn about that are different than me that I can't. And the reason behind that is because the content doesn't exist. So when I say the content doesn't exist, it's because you have not created. And then my question to you is, why? I'll tell you what my excuse is. It's because I'm too lazy. I don't want to put in the effort. I don't want to edit. I don't want to sit here and write narratives, have scripts. In my opinion, like, the best content is actually unscripted. It's just thought process. Because when you consume content creators' videos and they just go on a tangent about something, you're watching because you want to understand their thoughts in the moment. Not exactly know what their thoughts are. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the saying, it's not about the destination, it's about the journey. And although that sounds really tacky, there's a lot of meaning behind that. When I ask people, like, you know, like, what's your reward at the end of the tunnel? If you're going to work hard towards something, what do you really want? And a lot of people will say, well, I don't want to stress out about money anymore. I want to be able to have enough money where I can be happy. The honest truth behind that is there's no amount of money that will actually make you happy. And don't get me wrong, like, not having to worry about money coming in is clearly going to make quality of life better than if you're starving. But a lot of people have this false notion that money actually makes them happy. They see a number go up and it makes them feel good about themselves. Now, the reason that there's wealthy people that are still depressed, right? The reason behind that, like Robin Williams is a perfect example. It's because a lot of times they think that their success measures how useful they are as people in society. But that type of measurement is subjective. So, what I'm saying by that is, some people think status or job title measures your wealth as a person. But accomplishments and skills aren't the only thing that make people valuable. What makes people valuable is their unique perspective on the world and what they can share. So, for example, if I'm an employer and I want to hire somebody who solves problems, of course I'm going to look at your job experience. But more so, I'm going to look first at the way that you think, your mindset. Now, let's say if I own the computer business and our strategy was to remove viruses. I used to remove viruses a long time ago and did that sort of work. And it was difficult. But I understood, like, the people that I worked with, or my peers, for example, who had the similar skill set, we thought and we thunk differently than normal people. Because we were uncertain all the time. We weren't sure if we were able to actually get everything resolved, or we weren't certain if we could actually, like, prevent viruses from coming back, because it was basically a brand new thing. As viruses came in, we had to keep up. And we're seeing every day new viruses pop up. So what does that mean? It means it's not so much the experience that you have in life that makes you valuable. It's the way that your brain processes the world. It's the way that you interpret the world. Take that interpretation and come to conclusions, right? It has to do with depth. And the more different that you think, the more valuable you are. So going back to Elon Musk, right? He has a lot of hate at the moment for being very strongly opinionated about certain topics. But for all the people that disagree with him, there are people that agree with him. And that's what makes him valuable, is the people that find value in his opinions. Now, why am I using Elon Musk as an example? Well, it's because most people know him. Now, do people know Elon Musk because of his engineering skill set, for example? Or do they really know him because of his mind? I would argue that it's not so much his skills, but it's the way he thinks. It's the way he talks. It's the way he analyzes things that makes him very unique and stand out from all of his peers, basically. Now, here's the secret that everyone's really overlooking pretty often. Elon Musk does not care about negative judgment. He literally just says what he feels is best. And the controversy builds him up. Now, I know it's hard for like the normal person to think that controversy is a good thing. But it is. Why is being controversial good? Well, the more controversial you are, the more people either agree or disagree, of course, right? But sometimes people are controversial not because what they're saying is aggravating to the masses or, you know, supposed to be some sort of societal unspoken thing that you don't talk about. But it's because they put a lot of thought behind what they say. And that thought is the money. The thought process behind what makes you think differently from everybody else is what makes every human unique. And I need more of that. I need that from you. And I need that from your friends. I need it from everybody. Because I've been humbled many times in my life by people who I never thought would humble me. Especially when it comes to politics, when it comes to just music, foods, places I've been, people I've met. What was once something that you could be completely disgusted by, turned away from, you know, spent your whole life being a hater of, could be your next biggest hobby, major interest. And a lot of times people have like these preconceived notions that they know that they don't like something. Just from the looks of it, right? But sometimes all people need is something different to slowly grow on them, to realize that they've found a newfound interest in life they never thought that they would ever be open to. So right now I'm on an Apple laptop, also known as a MacBook Pro. I spent my whole life talking trash about Apple and saying, like, I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me why you would support a company like Apple. You know, their business practices are so bad because of their partnerships and what goes into making their equipment. And then I realized, you know, almost everything I own isn't made in the United States. It's made elsewhere. It's assembled elsewhere with parts from across the world. And I have no idea what is going on when it comes to the labor behind it. Really. All I know is what people have told me. But recently, I realized by looking at Apple products, specifically the M4 CPU, it was really impressive technology. And I'm playing a game that I've played many times. I like just messing around on buildings, things, and going out and doing these monuments and fighting these scientists in the game. But but I'm running a Windows game on an Apple MacBook Pro M4 base model laptop right now. I never thought that I could game on an Apple machine and have a decent experience. And because I'm screen recording right now, it's a bit choppy. And I had to tune down the graphics a bit. But I'm really impressed. And the reason I never tried it before was because I just kind of drank the haterade that I was against Apple products for so many years. I never understood the value in it. And then one day, I just tried it. I really looked into it. I listened to a bunch of different perspectives. You know, the monitor's 120 hertz. It's a mini LED display, double stacked. Looks incredible. And I had an AMD Ryzen laptop that I did a lot of work on for a long time. And I bought it because of the battery life and the efficiency. But there's so many pros to the Apple operating system nowadays when it comes to being privacy focused, efficient. The operating system reminds me so much of Linux nowadays. But also, the battery life is incredible. There's so many things about it that I was closed off to in the past, and now I'm open to. And as somebody who's in my late 30s, the only reason that I was able to find such a great newfound part of life was because I thought I was wrong. I questioned my own judgment. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to prove to me that I'm wrong. I need you to take what you think is right and question that as well. I need you to question, why do you think people are going to judge you? Are they going to think you're ugly, etc.? And just throw it up. Alright, thanks for listening to my rant. Appreciate it. Please like this video and subscribe. And have a great day.